God. Let's talk about God, but let's talk about it beyond my normal message. And if you follow me, you understand that my message about God is not one to focus on this idea or this concept or this individual or deity or entity outside of us, but to focus on the God within. But I was asked the question, why is it that when we refer to God as a he? And so I want to answer that question from a metaphysical point of view to give you some understanding, because it's something that I actually asked myself a few months ago and really took time to meditate and contemplate on it. And I came to my own realization about why we refer to God as a he. Now, there are many layers to this. And though when I discuss and talk about God, I am only talking about the God within you, that power within you, that thing that actually makes the universe exist, being a part of us and us coming from that energy, coming from that source. And so when I usually refer to God, I refer to you, the God within you, you being the creator of your reality and your universe, and taking that responsibility to actually take ownership of your life. But when we talk about God, oftentimes, one, is blasphemous for me to even say what I just said for a lot of people, because our idea of God is this thing outside of us that is controlling everything, that is looking down upon us and supporting us, judging us, giving us the things that we want, taking things away from us, and basically in control of everything that's happening. Where when we think about God and we think about God being a gender, it's very interesting on so many levels, but I'm going to try to keep this very direct and simple, because with metaphysics and metaphysical sciences, we can go on and on and on about these various topics, because with metaphysics, we are diving deeper than the superficial level. That's why it's called metaphysics. We go beyond the physical to really dissect and break down what's going on in the psychology and all of that, to really come to a clear understanding of basically why we believe and why we do the things we do and the connection between everything. And so back to the question, why do we refer to God as a he, as a man? Well, the thing is, this first level is that it was programmed to us to believe so. When we get down into our major religions, right? Christianity, Muslim, Islam, and Judaism, we often hear God referred to as a man, he. And so part of the reason why we refer to God as a he is because that was taught to us. And most of us haven't questioned why that is the case. Why is God referred to a he? And so that's the first reason. We were programmed to believe God is a he. We were taught that, it was passed down to us, and that's simply a part of our programming. That's a part of our subconscious training, and for many of us, accepted belief system. Now, when we get into a personal level, though, God can be whatever it is and whatever you like God to be, or God to look like, or whatever gender you would like God to have. Because when you break down and really, when we get back to the first level where it is a program, when you ask individuals, what does God look like? You're going to have different answers. And this goes into one of my fundamental theories, is that everybody worships and connects to God completely different. There are no two Christians alike, no two Muslims alike, no two Jews that are alike. In every religion, there are no two people who practice that religion the same, because we're all individuals. So if you were to ask everybody that you know, every Christian that you know, what does God look like? And you ask them to draw you a picture or use AI to generate an image, they will all look different. They may look similar because we were also programmed to think what God looked like, or what Jesus looked like, or what Muhammad may look like, or Moses may look like, but ultimately they will still have different features. What would the personality look like? You ask anybody that, you will have a different answer. So when we get back to this personal idea about God, realize that though many people may accept that God is a man, they also will have to acknowledge that when they look at God individually, you will see that it is somewhat of a projection from their own consciousness. They see God differently because they are different. We are all individuals, so we see things differently from our point of view. So there is that personal aspect of God that may piggyback on the program that we had as children or through our religions to believe that God is a man. Me personally, when I came to a different understanding along my journey, I realized that whenever I thought or visualized God, I saw a woman, right? I saw a woman and I spoke to that woman and I communicated with that woman. And that was my realization and that was my understanding. And that's when I began to really question, why then are people referring to God as a man when I saw a woman? You see, so it is also your connection and your relationship with genders. You know, you have to look at it that way as well. If you think of something that is powerful, right, and you had to choose between one or two genders, what is the most powerful one? You might identify with this idea that God is a man, where I see women as more powerful and more beautiful than man. And so I identify my God, right? If I had to say what God would look like, I had to identify that with a woman. And so as we continue to progress throughout this spiritual journey, we start to break down these programs that were given to us. And so I went from accepting that God was a man to coming into my own realization throughout my spirituality and seeing that God is a woman. And then eventually I got to a point where I acknowledged, really more importantly, the God within me. So now when I think of God and what God looks like, I think about a mirror, seeing God as myself. You see, and that is the thing that people need to really grasp, is that God starts with you. It starts with your perspective, your reality, how you see things. But as a community in the grand scheme of things, when we think about God, what I want to really break down to you, and this is my hypothesis, right? This is my theory about really energetically why we refer to God as a he. And so when we think about life, right? When we think about life, we think about energy, we think about explosion, we think about action. We are alive, we are living, we are moving, we are doing, right? We are going through things. You even can think about chaos and action, right? These things, the clash of life, the vibrancy, the explosion, the amount of just energy it takes to be alive. When you relate that in terms of contrast with the universe, in the universe, and you think about, say, for example, yin and yang. Yang is related to more of that explosive energy, that action energy. And also male, or being a man, is also connected with that yang energy. And so when I really sat and thought about it and meditated on it, I saw the connection that life, when we are in this realm of living our lives, right, in this realm of this reality of life, we are living in that yang male energy. We are existing in this male, dynamic, moving energy. And thus, that's why I think intuitively, we refer to this energy as more of a masculine energy. The energy of life is more of a masculine energy. It's more of a energy where things are happening, and then it kind of burns itself out. And that's what life kind of does, right? We are born, we go through life, and relatively quickly, when you think of the grand scheme of this earth and the universe, it is a quick second. It is like almost a scratch or a significant portion of time. And then it is over. And then we transition into another phase. And my understanding is that that next phase, which we will call death or after death, is more of the yin energy, which is more grounded in female energy. And a lot of times death is referred to as more of a female gender. And so I think that on a metaphysical level, when we think consciously as far as the collective consciousness, we connect with the yang energy being masculine, that life energy that we are living day to day. This energy is more of a male energy, a masculine energy. And that's why we innately refer to God as a man, because we're living in this realm of male energy, you see? And so that's my understanding from a metaphysical point of view as to why we collectively refer to God, really this existence, right? The thing that's in control, or the thing that's operating or organizing this kind of chaos, as male, as young energy, right? Whereas when we think about death, we think about peace, we think about calmness, we think about everything being settled, being chill. And that's more of a female yin energy. And so that's ultimately my breakdowns about life. That's my breakdowns about God and why we see God as a male, and the different layers of how we look at God and where that comes from. But again, for me, though all those things may be truth and resonate with you, it is more important to connect with that God energy within you in order to live and enjoy this life that you have. Once you connect with that, because God is everywhere, right? Grand consciousness, the source, is everywhere and in everything. But as you being a conscious being living your life, focus on that God within you that will guide you, that will support you, that has the power to create the life that you want, to live a life where you can express yourself authentically and be fulfilled and be joyful. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.